Hey there. I am coming to you from my dining room. And starting next week, September the 16th at 11 a.m., I will be here on Zoom every week for the Rector's Bible study. And consider this your invitation to join me. This term, September through December, we're going to look at the letters of the Apostle Paul as we have them in the Bible. But we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to look at those letters in the order in which most scholars believe he wrote them. So we're actually going to start with the book of Galatians. And we will start with the book of Galatians next week. We're going to look at about one book a week, and we're going to look at some major themes, and we're going to look at who he was writing to and why he was writing to them. He pretty much had two reasons to write to the various churches or people, and one was because they were having some sort of conflict, and another was because they needed encouragement. And so we'll look at why he was writing to those various communities. And then we'll look at what he conveys about Jesus. What words, what ideas, what belief structures does he convey about Jesus? And we'll also look at some of the more well-known passages or well-known verses in those various letters of his. And we'll look at them in the context of the larger picture of what he's talking about, and maybe not just why do those verses make us smile or feel good, but what was he trying to convey to his congregations, to his people when he wrote those. Since I said last week, or I said going next week, we're starting right in with Galatians. I wanted to take this time and give you a little bit of background, just a snippet. Now, understand, whole books have been written on the life of Saul of Tarsus. But I'm just going to give you a few minutes overview here. He was a devout Jew who sought to tell people about the risen Christ. And he didn't start out that way, right? Early on in the book of Acts, we have stories of him persecuting Jesus' followers, of him seeking to arrest them and bring them back to the synagogues. But he had this conversion, right? Has this moment where I think Flannery O'Connor said, he literally, God knew he had to knock that one off his horse, right? And so he has this encounter with the risen Christ that's recorded in the book of Acts as well. And then we have this shift, right? Because he's known as Saul up to chapter 13, verse 9 in the book of Acts. And there's this shift in his name. And it literally says Saul, who was also known as Paul, and da 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 da. And for the rest of the book of Acts, the next 15 chapters in the book of Acts, he's just known as Paul. God did not change his name. The writer, Luke, who wrote the book of Acts, changed his name. Didn't really change his name, just changed which language he was writing his name in. Saul was the Hebrew version. Paul is the Greek version. So as he's going out to the Greek and Gentile world, the Greek-speaking world, Luke writes about him using his Greek name. So that's why he did that. He ended up in Rome, which is where he had really wanted to be from the get-go. So he ends up in Rome at the end of his life. The book of Acts, if you read the last chapter of Acts, he arrives in Rome, sort of gets set up with an apartment. It's kind of on house arrest during that time. But it ends with him writing in this little apartment in Rome. Our tradition holds that he was killed during the oppression by Emperor Nero, somewhere between 64 and 66 AD. It was part of, it was a big persecution of not just Jesus followers, but of lots of people by Nero during that time. And he died during that time. There's nothing biblical, there's nothing in the Bible about when he died or how, but we certainly have other sources that say when he died and when his ministry came to an end. So like I said, each week we're going to look at a different book, a different letter from the Apostle Paul. We might, for Romans and Corinthians, I think we'll take a couple of weeks on those. Most of the rest we can look at the major themes in the course of that 45 minutes to an hour that we have at 11 o'clock on Wednesdays. So I hope you'll join us. I hope if you have some time this week to look at Paul's letter to the Galatians, read through some of that. And if you want to read through some of the last half of the book of Acts from about chapter 14 on, really probably chapter 13 on, really sort of tells the tale of some of the places he went and even some of the people that he was writing to. So I hope in all of this we will come away with a greater understanding of what he wanted his followers to know about Jesus, and what we can learn from that as well. So I look forward to you joining me. We'll have the Zoom link available on our website and also in our weekly emails that go out. And I hope you'll join me. We'll be about an hour each week, maybe a little bit, maybe a skosh less than that, but that'll be about the time. So next week, September 16th, the book of Galatians. Hope you'll join us. Thank you so much.